In the quaint town of Willowbrook, the Peterson family was the embodiment of happiness. Nestled in a charming, white picket-fenced home, Robert and Margaret Peterson lived with their two children, Emily and Daniel. Robert, a history professor at the local university, was known for his gentle demeanor and endless curiosity about the world's mysteries. Margaret, a skilled painter, turned the mundane into masterpieces. Together, they created a sanctuary of love, creativity, and laughter. Family evenings were filled with joy and warmth. The Petersons gathered for dinners, sharing stories and laughter as Emily's piano melodies filled their home. Saturdays brought them to the lake for picnics, where Daniel tried skipping stones while Robert entertained with fascinating historical tales. They seemed the epitome of love and harmony, a picture-perfect family others admired. But as it often happens, perfection has a way of masking shadows lurking in its midst, creeping unseen until it's too late. What began as an idyllic and heartwarming tale would soon unravel into a spine-chilling enigma, a haunting mystery that kept the town of Willowbrook in its grip for decades, leaving unanswered questions echoing through the generations. It was a crisp autumn evening in October 1998 when the nightmare began. Emily, then 14, had been preparing for her school's upcoming music recital. She played her favorite piece on the piano, her notes dancing in the air. Margaret watched from the couch, her paintbrush idly swirling on the canvas. Daniel, 8 at the time, was engrossed in a book on constellations. Robert had gone out to pick up dinner. When Robert returned an hour later, the house was eerily silent. The piano's melody had stopped mid-note. Margaret's half-finished painting sat abandoned, and the smell of freshly brewed tea lingered in the air. "Margaret, kids," Robert called out, his voice carrying an edge of unease. No response. He searched every room, every corner, every closet. Nothing. It was as though his family had vanished into thin air. The police were called, neighbors were questioned, and search parties scoured the woods and lake. But no traces of Margaret, Emily, or Daniel were ever found. In the days that followed, theories flooded the town. Some believed the family had been kidnapped, while others whispered about a curse tied to the Petersons' century-old home. A few even claimed to have seen strange lights hovering near the lake that night, but these accounts were dismissed as figments of overactive imaginations. Robert, distraught and broken, became the town's tragic figure. He spent years investigating their disappearance, poring over every detail, re-examining every piece of evidence. His once pristine office turned into a chaotic archive of maps, newspaper clippings, and photographs. Yet, no answers surfaced. As time passed, the case grew colder, and Robert's relentless pursuit of the truth consumed him. By 2015, he was a shell of the man he once was, living alone in the house that had once been filled with laughter. In 2023, a construction crew working near the lake unearthed a peculiar chest buried deep in the soil. Inside were old photographs of the Peterson family, along with Margaret's paintbrushes and Emily's sheet music. But most chillingly, there was a journal belonging to Margaret, its pages warped but legible. The entries began innocently enough, chronicling her days painting and teaching Emily new songs. But as the entries progressed, they took a darker turn. Margaret wrote of feeling watched, of hearing whispers when no one was around, and of seeing a shadowy figure standing at the edge of the woods late at night. The final entry was dated the night of their disappearance. October 15th, 1998. It's here. It's been watching us for weeks, and now it's inside. I hear it calling Emily. I must protect them. If we don't return, let the truth be known. The journal ended abruptly. Forensics confirmed the handwriting matched Margaret's. The town was plunged into renewed speculation. What was it? Was it human? Something otherworldly? And why had no one seen it? determined to find closure, a young journalist named Clara McNeil dove into the case. Clara's research uncovered something Robert had overlooked. The land where the Petersons' house stood had a grim history. In the 1800s, it had been the site of an orphanage run by a man named Elias Grayson, infamous for his cruel experiments on children. Legend had it that the spirits of those tormented children never left. Clara convinced Robert to return to the lake one last time. They set up camp near the spot where the chest was found. That night, as they reviewed Margaret's journal under the moonlight, a faint melody floated across the water. It was Emily's piano piece. Robert froze, tears streaming down his face. Following the sound, they found an opening in the woods that led to an underground tunnel. The air was heavy, thick with an unexplainable energy. Inside, they discovered remnants of the old orphanage, rusted beds, tattered clothes, and crude carvings on the walls. At the end of the tunnel was a large mirror, its surface rippling like water. As Robert approached, the reflection showed his family standing behind him, smiling. But when he turned, no one was there. The mirror's surface began to distort, and from within, Emily's voice whispered,
"Daddy, it's safe now. We're free."
As the mirror shattered, it released a gust of cold wind that carried with it the faint echoes of laughter and Emily's piano. Amid the shards lay a locket that had once belonged to Margaret, its delicate hinge creaking open to reveal a photograph of the family in happier times. Robert's trembling hands cradled the locket, a flood of emotions overcoming him as the realization dawned. His family hadn't been lost but ensnared, caught in the grip of a malevolent force tied to the land's dark and twisted past. By uncovering the buried truth and confronting the shadows, Robert had broken the cycle, freeing them from the invisible prison that held them captive. Their love had transcended dimensions, and now, at long last, they were at peace. The Peterson case remains officially unsolved, but those close to Robert know he found peace that night. He left Willowbrook soon after, taking only the locket with him. To this day, locals claim to hear faint piano melodies by the lake on quiet nights, a haunting reminder of a family's love, lost and reclaimed in the most mysterious of ways.